My name is Lisa North, and I'm 33 years old. I'm a cosmetic surgeon. 3 years ago, I opened my own clinic, which is a small place, but it had always been my dream. Until then, I was working at a university hospital. After my period as a medical intern was over, I spent my Saturdays and Sundays training in cosmetic surgery, and I had almost no time off. Since I was a child, I always got absorbed in one matter, and always worked too hard when there was something that I wanted to accomplish. When I was studying to get into university, there was a time when I suddenly collapsed on the way to school. So training for a cosmetic surgeon exhausted me, but I was able to work hard because I knew I was on my way to fulfilling my dream. My current husband, Sean, is the one who supported me throughout the process. He works in the administrative department at the same hospital and is 5 years younger than me. We met at a farewell party for one of the daughters, and since then, we would say hello to each other whenever we saw each other in the hospital. Like me, he gets absorbed in matters, but he is very kind and hardworking man. I am spending busy days as mentioned, but in addition to this, I'm preparing for my clinic, even sacrificing hours of my sleep. I spend my break time, my time at home, all of my time to create my ideal clinic. I often do not eat, and when I do, it is mostly microwaved food. One day, I get dizzy while at the hospital. I wobbled, and Sean, who was watching nearby, runs to me and holds me, stopping me from falling. When he hears about my lifestyle, he becomes so worried that he says he will come to my house to cook for me. He says, "If you continue like this, you will definitely collapse. All the hard work you've put in will be ruined. I can't help you with the opening of your business, but I can help you take care of your health. Please, can you let me help you?" I am surprised at first, but I do feel that if I go on like this, my body is not going to allow me to continue. I don't know much about Sean, since we had only talked a little, but I had heard what a kind man he was from my colleagues, so I decided to ask him for help. Sean is an amazing cook. It seems his mother is a nutritionist, which also allowed him to learn about food, so he cooks very healthy meals for me. The time we spend together talking and eating the meals that he makes becomes a time of healing for me within these crazy busy days. On the first day that he comes to cook dinner for me, we spend time talking a lot. I find that we get along very well, and that time flies with him. It isn't long before we start going out, and it is all thanks to Sean that I'm able to open my clinic in a healthy state. Once I open my practice and get even busier, we decide to get married. After some discussion, Sean agrees to stay at home and do the housework. "Hey, honey, I've cooked us some steak today." "My favorite! Looks delicious." Before I come home, I can always smell the wonderful cooking, even before I open the door. My husband greets me with a smile. Since we got married, he has been doing the housework perfectly. Because I started my business at a young age, there has been a lot of backlash, and there are many struggles. But knowing that Sean is at home waiting for me, I am able to overcome anything. Running a hospital for the first time is tough, but the number of clients is gradually increasing, and I always have such a delicious meal waiting for me when I return home. On my occasional days off, Sean and I go to spas or theme parks and enjoy our time together. I don't know what I've done to deserve these amazing days with my husband. As we are living in an apartment that I originally lived in on my own, I am the one paying the rent. I make sure that more than half of my earnings is wired into our account for living expenses, and I leave Sean in charge of managing our expenses, including the payment of the utility bills. Since he is taking care of the house, I want him to spend any of the leftover money as he likes, so that I make sure to wire more than necessary every month. Thanks so much for always taking care of the house. You're always such a great help. You can spend the rest of the money on whatever you want, you know? This is what I would always say to him. Well, cooking's my hobby, so maybe I'll buy the new frying pan, is what he would reply. And in addition, he would say, Look, we've already saved this much. We've saved up a little bit more, and when you're not too busy with work, let's go on a vacation. Sean not only does the housework perfectly, but also manages the household budget very well. He does everything so perfectly that I'm worried that he may be pushing himself too hard. I think it would be better if he found a hobby or met with friends and took a break from housework once a while. Even thought I have these thoughts, I don't know how to say this to him. And combined with the business from work, the days go by without my mentioning anything. However, one day, after about 1 year since we got married, when I come home, I do not smell Sean's cooking at all, and he comes to the door with a flustered look on his face. I'm sorry, I must have dozed off. I haven't made dinner yet, so I'll make it now. That's unusual of you, but it's totally fine. Let's cook together. My husband teaches me, and we cook dinner together. It is unusual of him to be like this when he is always so perfect, but I feel it's nice to cook together once in a while. However, the same thing happens frequently after that. It was not only cooking, but other household chores as well. I would come home and find laundry in the washing machine. He must have washed them in the morning and left them there. Sometimes the dishes from breakfast are left lying on the table as well. It doesn't seem like he's gone grocery shopping either, and when there is nothing in the refrigerator, I begin to think that something is wrong. The reason is always different. He could be sleeping or feeling unwell, and I cannot tell what the real cause is. I would find out the actual cause 6 months after the first time Sean didn't cook dinner. When I come home, the house is very quiet. Sean doesn't rush out to see me either. The breakfast dishes are still on the table, and the laundry is also still in the washing machine. It is so quiet that I think my husband is not there, but I look into each room and find him there playing video games, wearing big headphones, mumbling something, and surrounded by gaming equipment that I have never seen before. Sean, what are you doing? I tap him on the shoulder, and he looks back at me with a surprised look on his face. At first, he seems to be panicking, but for some reason, he suddenly smiles and says to me, "Oh, Lisa, you're home. Sorry I kept this secret for a while, but I've actually found a new hobby. You know this game? It's really fun, you know. Once I start playing, I can't stop." Seeing my husband looking so happy, I'm immediately at a loss for words. It seems that he has been hiding the gaming equipment from me till now. Of course, it is a good thing to have a hobby, do something you like once in a while, and I don't mind if he skips the housework at times. However, I am a little concerned that he is so absorbed in it that he didn't even notice that I had returned home. I'm glad you have a new hobby now. I don't know much about games, but it sounds like fun. But it would be great if you could do the housework when you can. I choose my words carefully, so as not to hurt Sean's feelings. I'm sorry. I started in the morning and got carried away. I didn't realize the time. But there's a tournament for this game coming up. I think I can make it to the top, so I wanted to practice. I am surprised to hear that. While I was working away from home, Sean had been playing these games for over 10 hours. Seeing my husband playing these games, I realized that this is a Sean I have never seen before. But after our conversation, he cooks dinner for me as usual, and we enjoy the food together. The day ends without me being able to say anything else to him. I guess he was just a little too focused on the game, but since then, my husband has changed. He stopped doing the housework altogether. And that's not all. When I leave in the morning, he's still sleeping. He wakes up around noon and plays games until dawn. He doesn't seem to want to cook. When I buy home food, he will stop playing the game for a while, but will quietly eat his meal within 10 minutes and immediately go back to his room. He would answer me when I talk to him, but his mind seems to be occupied with the game, and he doesn't respond very enthusiastically. I realize that I have stopped talking to him too. Before I know it, I realize that I only ever see him either sleeping, eating, or playing games. Even on my days off, he still plays games all the time. Every time I return home, there are more game-related devices. I'm slowly beginning to have more and more complaints, but I'm in a position where he does the housework for me, so I'm patient and say nothing, thinking this will get better when the tournament he mentioned is over. I am as busy as ever with work, and am unable to do the housework myself, so the house keeps getting messier and messier. One time, when I haven't had a day off in a while, I am about to take a bath but realize we don't have any clean towels, so I have to go to laundromat in the middle of the night. Even with the house in such a state and seeing me go through such accidents, Sean is so absorbed in playing video games that he doesn't seem to care. One day, I come home and start to take a shower, but realize that the hot water isn't working. I rush out of the shower, put my clothes back on, and go to check the mail. I find not only the bills for gas, but also for electricity and water. Several months of them. I go outside to go and make all the payments. It is a very cold day and I am shivering. It is not that long of a walk, but it feels further away than usual, and for some reason, I start crying. I feel like the Sean I knew is gone, and that the happy days that we had will never return. If I had properly told him off the first time I found out about the games, would things have been different? Did I make a mistake? The more I think about it, the more painful it becomes. I have reached the end of my patience. I arrived home, wiped away my tears so that Sean would not know I had been crying, and said to him, "Didn't you pay the utility bills?" But he just answered with, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to, but I forgot." He is very matter-of-fact. Later, while taking a bath, I looked back at what happened today and keep asking myself the same questions. It seems strange. Right after we got married, I heard that Sean had made sure the utility cost would be paid by automatic debit, and even thought I was handing him extra money. It was a wonder where he had enough money to buy so many gaming equipment that looked so expensive too. I get out of the bath and check the account for living expenses. I see there is not even enough money left in the account for a month's worth of gas. I look through the figures carefully and find that the full amount has been withdrawn the day after I wired the amount. Feeling a little bit bad, I check the contents of my husband's wallet, which is left in the living room. I find a card that allows you to add money to the games, and receipts from electronic stores where he must have bought the gaming devices. So many of them. All the amounts on the receipts are expensive. Something snaps inside of me. I cannot forgive him. If he is spending the money I have worked so hard to earn on these games, I find myself going to the room where Sean is playing the game, and I force the power off the computer. "Hey, what are you doing? I was so close to winning!" My husband yells at me in a voice I have never heard before. I am scared as I think he may even hit me, but I can't step back now. I decide to say everything I wanted to say. "Stop this! I can't stand it any longer. What are these receipts? There's no money in our account either. You're spending all my money on games, aren't you?" "What? You're the one who said I can spend the money on my hobbies, so shut up. How could you look into my wallet without asking? Did you shut this game down just to say that?" "I was winning, you know. I can't believe it." "I only said you could spend the money if there was any left. Anyone should understand that. You're a stay-at-home husband and you don't even do the housework. If you won't, go and find a job. Earn yourself some money if you have things you want to spend it on. I'm not going to let you spend any of my money on games any longer. If you're going that far, I'm leaving. You can't do anything without me. Don't take housework for granted, you know. You should be grateful to me." He picks up just his wallet and phone and leaves the apartment. His parents' house is far away, so I guess he must have gone to a friend's place. I feel slightly better now that I had said everything I had been feeling. However, I'm not done. Sean is probably going to come back when he feels he wants to play the games again, or when he doesn't have any more money left. He isn't gone for good, and he's not going to come home a different man. As far as I can tell, it seems he needs the games more than he needs me. I cannot forgive him. The next day, I have a day off, so I sell all the gaming equipment that Sean has and go to receive the divorce papers. I send the rest of Sean's belongings to his parents' house, along with the papers signed on my side. I cancel the apartment contract, which had been in my name, and go to rent a new apartment. I also reach out to a moving company. Several days later, I move to a new apartment, see the old apartment off, go to the bank, and also cancel the account for our living expenses, as this was also in my name. With everything done, I feel wonderful. The day after I canceled the account is when the living expenses would usually be deposited. In the morning, around the time I arrived to work at the clinic, I received several calls from Sean, but I ignore him because I am working. The phone rings once every several minutes, so the battery dies before noon. Once I finished work in the evening and turned my phone on, I received another call from Sean. I answered and he screams, "Oh, I can't enter the account or our apartment. I got a call from Mom too. What did you send her?" I moved. There's nowhere for you to go home to anymore. I've sent your stuff and the divorce papers to your parents' house, so you be sure to look through everything when you're there. What do you mean? We never say anything about the divorce. I don't have a job, you know. Who do you think you are? You can't enter the account because I canceled it. I'll be requesting you a compensation, so you really should find work, you know. Okay, bye. I hear him still screaming something, but I hang up. After that, I feel relieved of my burden, and I decided to go to a bar that I often went to as a medical intern, to drink as much as I like. Several days later, I finish work late at night and leave the clinic, exhausted, when I see Sean and his parents waiting for me outside. "I'm sorry for what Sean did to you. He told me everything. It's all his fault, and he's very sorry. So please, can you forgive him? We're ever so sorry. But for a year, I'm sure our son did well handling the housework. He just gave in to temptation for a while, but it won't happen again." As soon as they see me, both of Sean's parents apologize to me. Sean is standing between them, crying. "I'm sorry, but I have no intention of forgiving your son. I've been working until this late, and I am exhausted. So please, can you leave now?" With this, Sean starts swelling. "I am so sorry. I will do the housework again. Please." "I don't need you to do the housework. I've made up my mind. So please, just sign the divorce papers. If you find work, you'll be able to do what you like with your own money, you know." But Sean changes his attitude completely and looks angry. "Then give me back my gaming equipment. What did you do with them?" "Oh, those things? I sold everything." "Why don't you find work and buy everything back?" "What? You've got to be kidding me!" He is a completely different man to who he was several minutes ago, and is screaming angrily. These must be his true colors. "You're the one who's got to be kidding. Do you think I don't know? When I turned on your computer after you left, it automatically signed into your WhatsApp account. That's how you set it up, right?" "Huh?" Sean looks anxious. "I see you've been messaging lots of girls that I don't know about. I've saved all the messages, and it seems some of them you started messaging just after we got married, right? Do you want me to read them out loud?" Wait a moment. With this, Sean's parents seem to have understood everything. They suddenly look furious. "What do you think you're doing?" No, I can explain." Sure, he can explain. It seems he let multiple girls into the house while I was at work. One of them liked gaming, so they started playing these games together, which began Sean's obsession with games. "So, my lawyer's going to reach out to you soon, okay?" And with that, I run off. I don't want to make a scene outside my own clinic this late at night. Sean tries to come after me, but his dad drags him back onto the car. Later, we have discussions through our lawyers, and although it takes time, I finally get a divorce. I am able to request Sean to pay back the money he spent as well as a compensation. It seems Sean's parents have told him to look for work, but he keeps trying to play games to meet new girls, so they are making sure he only has limited access, like with the child's phone. My clinic is working out as good as ever. Up until now, I have been the only surgeon there, but as new clients are coming every day, I am now able to hire another surgeon. This means I am working slightly shorter work hours than before. I am now able to use my time to cook. I do still make mistakes, but I feel like I am getting better every time I try. When I can find more time, I hope to start attending cooking classes.